Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time again, and that time is the time to remind you that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is just simply not our guy. No way, you might say. But I saw Speaker of the House Mike Johnson on Donald Trump's jet. He was eating McDonald's with Donald Trump and RFK Jr. He went to the UFC matches. I know he looked weird and out of place, but, you know, maybe, just maybe, we thought we had a chance that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson would turn a new leaf. But that is not the case. Mike Johnson is back to his old tricks. And what are those tricks? Well, he is trying to shove through at the last minute, I might add, a continuing resolution omnibus bill, a massive bill with some insane spending. And he is raising the alarm because it's very important, because there's a deadline that this bill be passed before the government is shut down. Now, there's no reason why this couldn't have gone through the standard process instead of being rushed to a vote right before the congressmen and women want to go home for the holidays. The urgency is 100% manufactured and designed to avoid serious debate. And he is facing a lot of scrutiny and a lot of backlash from not only the America First people in Congress, but also Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, the ones that are ahead of Doge. Yes. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, he went on the news to try to defend his position, and he responded to Elon Musk. And this is what he had to say.
We have a choice. We have to fund those. We have to fund FEMA. We have to fund our farmers.
Right. And Mr. Speaker, it's not just so you've got a bunch of Republicans who are angry at you. They don't like this. And just in a couple of weeks, you're going to stand once again to run for Speaker of the House. And you don't need a bunch of Democrats mad at you. But you know, and this is breaking news you do not know. You know who also does not like this? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, just tweeted this bill should not pass. The only way you're going to be able to pass it now, Mr. Speaker, is with Democrats. If you could, what's your message to Elon Musk?
Well, I was communicating with Elon last night. Elon and Vivek and I are on a text chain together, and I was explaining to them the background of this. And Vivek and I talked last night about almost midnight, and he said, look, I get it. He said, we understand you're in an impossible position. Everybody knows that. Remember, guys, we still have just a razor-thin margin of Republicans, so any bill has to have Democrat votes. They understand the situation. They said, it's not directed to you, Mr. Speaker, but we don't like the spending. I said, guess what, fellas? I don't either. We got to get this done, because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks, and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda. That's what we're going to run with gusto beginning January 3rd when we start the new Congress, when Republicans, again, are in control. And all of our fiscal conservative friends, I'm one of them, will be able to finally do the things that we've been wanting to do for the last couple of years. Right now, Democrats still control the pens, and that's the problem. So we got to get this thing done so we don't have the shutdown, so we get the short-term funding measure, and we get to March where we can put our fingerprints on the spending. That's when the big changes start, and we can't wait to get there.
Right. Why is it always like this? Every single time a CR bill comes up for a vote, it's down to the wire. We must push this through. And then we can do everything that we wanted to do after just this one CR bill has been pushed through. Well, let's think back to history. We've had about a gazillion just this one, and then. And he's saying it once again. And he's using, of course, Donald Trump being president-elect. Donald Trump is going to be president in January. He's going to be inaugurated. He said, well, let's just get this through. And then after President Trump becomes inaugurated, then things will get better and we'll have everything. It'll be sunshine and rainbows, everything everybody wants. But let's take a look at just what is in this spending bill that is so necessary and so important to avert a government shutdown. And keep in mind, this spending bill is 1,500 pages long. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, that's another thing they do is they give this to Congress on a deadline. And they say, hey, we must pass this now. It's just like, but this bill is 1,500 pages long. I don't even know what's in it. But let's look at this. Congress is trying to give themselves a raise to $243,000 a year, up from the current $174,000 a year. And they have a 22% approval rate. Now, what are they using to justify this pay raise? Well, essentially what they are doing is they're saying, well, the last time we got a pay raise was in January of 2009. At that time, their salary was increased 2.8% to $174,000 a year. And then you got to check this out. They list all the other times that their pay raises, their little pay raises were voted down. Now, I want you to look at this. Have you ever actually looked at the congressional schedule? These people almost never show up for work. So this is the congressional schedule, the calendar for 2024. The yellow boxes represent days they worked in D.C., and the rest of the days represent days of vacation or when they were home. Notice if you look here, during the months of August, they only worked one day. One day. They didn't work a single day in October. They worked a little over 2 weeks in January. They worked about 2 weeks in February, about 3 weeks in March. So let me ask you, does Congress actually deserve a pay raise? And that's not all. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 of these, so make sure you keep watching. It also includes an Obamacare opt-out for members of Congress. Section 1002, I believe that is, eligibility for FEHBP enrollment for members of Congress. And then it goes through. These bills are a little bit hard to read, but it says, blah, 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 blah of section, blah, blah, blah of Patient Protection and Affordability Care Act is amended in subparagraph heading by striking members of Congress and inserting congressional staff. Wow. Rules for thee, but not for me. And also another very important provision in this bill that is desperately needed to avert this government shutdown is a provision for a new stadium in Washington. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. It's going to be called RFK Stadium. So it's all good. It's okay. Now I got one more, and then I'm going to get to the best one. But the CR bill that is, once again, extremely important to avert this government shutdown includes a 1-year extension on the State Department's Global Engagement Center. Yes, do you like being censored on the internet? Well, if you like that, you can thank the Global Engagement Center. This agency is being absolutely destroyed on podcasts and independent media because this is where it is all coming from. All right, and now let's get to the best one. So this new spending bill allows Congress to make it harder to investigate itself. A new provision in the latest CR lets Congress block subpoenas for House data, like emails. This means investigators might not be able to look into things like the January 6th committee. So right here, this is directly out of the bill. It says, motions to quash or modify. Upon a motion made promptly by a House office or provider for a House office, a court or competent jurisdiction shall quash or modify any legal process directed to the provider for a House office if compliance with the legal process would require the disclosure of House data of the House office. So very interesting timing, right? Right before Donald Trump is inaugurated, they're trying to make it harder for Congress to investigate itself and make it pretty much impossible to investigate data from some of these committees. And we all know what committee is trying to hide right now. Yes, yeah, it's definitely the J6 committee. I mean, I'm 99.9, maybe even 100% sure, actually. But this bill is an absolute outrage, and they're just trying to pull their dirty tricks once again. We have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They are speaking out against this. Elon Musk has been literally tweeting up a storm all day. I mean, it's just been one tweet after another. His hands have to be getting carpal tunnel or something. But this is what he said initially. He said, any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. And I completely agree. This is, they're not even talking to conservatives. What Mike Johnson is doing at this point is trying to rally Democrats to vote for this bill because he's already given up on any America First conservative or anyone from the MAGA party. He doesn't care, because this is coming down to the deadline, which is by design. They want it to come to the deadline because they want people to feel a sense of urgency. Like, oh no, we can't shut down the government. But it's not working. So Mike Johnson is going to the Democrats to get them to support this CR bill. But I also feel like I need to include this because Vivek Ramaswamy went on TikTok and he said that he actually read the entire bill. And I believe he said he read it in one night. And he had an absolutely epic takedown of this bill on Twitter where he went into a little bit more depth. But he released this video on TikTok, and this is what he said.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job.
And this is what Mike Johnson is pushing so hard to get through Congress. Pay raises for Congress, new stadium. Granted, there's a few things in there that they like to platform in order to make it seem urgent, like we need to push this through, because they always add they glom on all this other stuff onto these bills that are completely unnecessary. And not only unnecessary, some of these, like making it harder for Congress to investigate itself, funding more of the censorship industrial complex, congressional pay raises. Like, it's completely insane. And now we know why, for a long time, when Donald Trump was running for office, we saw pictures like this of Mike Johnson posing with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, pretending to be one of the boys. Yes, he looked out of place. Why? Well, because he is out of place. Yeah, here he is with Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Yes, trying to be popular. Another one with Elon Musk. And there he is, the one at the UFC fight with Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Don Jr., all of that. Yes. Oh, Mike Johnson. He's not a real boy. No, he is in fact fake, and he is part of the Uniparty. I can't tell you how much I despise Mike Johnson. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Mike Johnson once again pushing a massive CR bill right under the wire, like right there? It's down to like the last second, and he's pushing for it in the news. And it's very important that we get another CR bill through before the government is shut down. You know what I say? Shut it down. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.